Yo, bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
Highway.
What's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass?
They ain't ready. They ain't ready, Jim. They ain't ready. Here we go.
I'm gonna go out here, guys.
What is it? You ain't Mexican. What is that?
Kind of looks you a little bit though, so I dig a little deep in there, right? But yeah, you did that.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 2025 season of the Frisco Report. We're back just in time to cover the Cowboys 2025 NFL Draft. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, you guys? What's going on, Joe? What's going on, Frisco Report? It feels good to be back in my box. I'm back in my box. I just seen that intro for the first time with you guys. Joe, you killed it.
Yeah, that was fun to make, dude. That was fun to make. Well, I was gonna change it up for every season, and this time we went with what we do best, man. We work great together, and it's great to be back, Mike. It's great to have you back here, and let's get rocking and rolling, baby.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. So the topic of today, everybody. First of all, shout out to everybody in the chat box, everybody watching live and on the replay. Hit that like button and subscribe. We can't do this without you. You're the reason why we do this, to get this out to the masses. All right, we're talking real Cowboys draft here. We never pump rainbows, unicorns, leprechauns, and whatever you want to call it. Oh, people's butts. It's all the real here, man. Mike, how you feeling about this 2025 NFL draft class? Right off the gate, let's get into it, man.
Yeah, let's get into it, Joe. You know, I haven't been keeping up with it. I was just doing some homework today for the show. All right. So, guys, don't jump Cowboys corner too bad. All right. We had personal things going on. That's why we're late to the draft talk. I mean, we're 3 months late. So bear with us. Joe knows this stuff, as you guys know. But bear with me. All right. Prime time Phil in the house.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, man, it's good to be back, dude. I love it. I love talking draft, and we can't do this without you, like I said, man. But Mike, overall, we're talking about this offline. Comparing this 2025 draft class versus, the previous 4 or 5. I mean, this just seems like one of the weaker draft classes in recent years, Mike. You know what I mean?
100%, Joe. I mean, you look at guys, like Travis Hunter, the Genties of the world's getting a lot of steam. Abdul Carter with Penn State, Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, Cowboys. Oh my God, don't draft defensive tackle for Michigan. He's a top talent. Then you go down the list with Will Johnson and Cam Ward. One of the first quarterbacks that might get taken in this year's draft. But as the whole of it, Joe, I mean, it's really it's there's a lot of 2s, there's a lot of 3s, and then so on. Not a lot of 1s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, first round grades are. This is probably the fewest that I've had, and some of the people that we trust, in the draft community, like a Dane Brugger, these guys, they don't have that many first round grades either, and you can tell why. But the running backs, there's plenty of them. The thing I hate about every year when we get into talk about the draft is there's always a position that is deep, right? But the NFL draft is 7 rounds. To me, every position is deep. You know what I mean? It's as far as the talent goes, man. Does the talent dry up after? I mean, yeah, you can have running backs go all the way to the 5th, but you're talking about a 5th round talent versus like a first round running back. There is a difference there,
100%. I mean, 100%. Just on their first steps, on their pass protection, on their screen catching. You know, I mean, you look at a guy like Hampton, right? One from North Carolina, 6'1" running back. I'm a big fan of his. He does everything the right way. Joe, you did a mock draft yesterday, mock draft Monday. You had DJ Giddens in there. You look at his build, you look at Tony Pollard's build, they're almost the same damn running back. You know, Tony Pollard had a little bit more oomph in his first initial steps. You know, Giddens can get there eventually, but I mean, their size is very comparable. And, you know, those are just two different running backs from two different aspects. You got a late third versus, you know, a first overall pick. There's just a lot of difference of these players, just to give you guys an example.
Yeah, it is, man. And I think the bread and butter of this draft, you know, where you want to draft certain players is that fourth round. You know, when you're looking at a later or mid-round pick is a fourth round. But guess what, Mike? Again, we are without a fourth-round pick. So here we go again with that. So I'm wondering, do they do something to get that fourth-round pick back? We got a super chat, Mike. Mike Berlera.
Yes, we do.
I feel like we should draft the best player available. I worry that even with Jerry or Will overrated McClay, we'll find a way to F it up. Yeah, man. They haven't been drafting well here the last 2 years. You know what I mean? It's been bad drafting. You know, even your first round picks have been, you know, developmental. You know, these guys in the early rounds need to be hit the ground running and these types of things. And you know, if they're going to find a way to mess it up, Mike, they have the experience in doing that, Mike. Unfortunately, what's your thought?
It's a great super chat here by Mike. Shout out to my guy Mike. You know, he's been a long supporter of the Frisco Report. He makes a lot of this stuff happen just with his donation. So appreciate that, Mike. But no, you look at the Cowboys free agency. I think that's where we have to start with this conversation. You know, they got a couple of wide receivers. They got a couple of linebackers. They went and got a corner. They tied up a couple of their own safeties with Marquise Bell and those guys. And then you look at it, you know, from the draft process, you know, from the draft aspect of it. If the Cowboys didn't really, I'm putting this in air quotes like Stephen Jones, didn't believe in these guys, they wouldn't be here, right? They'd be maybe closer to a training camp signing. So, I'm not talking as a fan, I'm talking about like as the front office. So in their brain, they're like, we can go BPA because we did X, Y, and Z. I bet they're tickled pink as many free agents they signed and how many free agents they signed of their own. And I bet they feel comfortable going to this draft to draft BPA.
Yeah, no doubt, man. BPA, along with filling needs, right? It feels like there's holes everywhere. So it's almost like it's, you know, best player available with with need, right on its tail. You know what I mean? Like a 1A, 1B type of deal. Because Mike, I'm not impressed with what they did in free agency. You know, Will McClay, this is his formula, and it hasn't worked for us. It hasn't worked for us, dude. Like you have the one-offs, but it's being consistent. You know, you bring in, it's always the reclamation project. It's always the former first-round bust, second-round bust, a guy who has a name. I remember him from college, but hadn't done squat in the NFL. Like he loves these types of deals, man. So. And to me, man, I see a lot of these guys as guys that'll compete. You know what I mean? Maybe someone like Solomon Thomas. I think he will stick around here a little bit more. He's a 2-year deal, but a lot of these, Mike, it's the same old 1-year deals. You know?
Yeah, that's the Cowboys mantra is 1-year deals, right? But the 1-year deals only work if you hit on your draft picks, Joe, and because. That's if you're going to build through the draft, that's what the Cowboys want to do, right? So if the Cowboys want to build through the draft, those 1-year contracts just have to be that 1-year deals, and your draft class has to continue filling those holes. But if you miss, it sets you back. And so, I mean, you look at it. A guy that I like is Kenneth Murray Jr., the guy that they traded for the Titans. That's one of my favorite guys I want to see. How does he, come in here with Matt Eberflus and learn under that coaching tree, Joe? I can't wait to see Murray, the linebacker who we traded for.
Yeah, I think Eberflus he does has. I think he coaches up the linebackers, pretty good. You know what I mean? I want to see the success in the playoffs. You know what I mean? We'll see if Eberflus defensive units can have some playoff success. But like you said, man, it's a lot of pressure on your draft class because it's like you need the whole class to basically contribute and play relatively well, not just your first round pick and your second round roll of the dice pick, because that's what the Cowboys do, Mike. The second round, it's almost like they make a list of, okay, who are the fuck ups, who are the injury prone motherfuckers. These are our second round guys. All right, period. Like, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that today, Mike. Who are some of these guys? Who are some injury dudes, red flag dudes, effort dudes, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I mean, right? I mean, the history tells you that's what they do in the second round, Mike. Why though? It's such a high pick. Why do they keep doing that, Mike?
Even when they don't try it, it still bites them in the butt. I mean, you look at Gavin Escobar or guys like Schoonmaker, right? And then, you could look at guys like Randy Gregory, Jalen Smith, Bruce Carter, Sean Lee. A lot of these injury-prone type players, as you talked about, or risk players like Bossman Fat, right? And Tristan Hill, he was a second-round pick. And so, I don't know why they do it. It's like they treat the second round like it's an eighth round. Like, this ain't the free agency undrafted guys. This is a real draft pick. It's time for us to do it right. And I don't understand why they treat it like an eighth round. It's a second round pick, guys. Come on.
You're right, man. You hit it around the head there, Mike. I mean, it's such an early pick. And this year we're drafting in the upper echelon of each round. So it's almost like a late first. You know what I mean? So, man, they can't screw up these first two picks.
No,
if they
can't afford to.
They can't afford to. And we're not big fans of this draft class as a whole. To me, I think it falls off a cliff after the fourth round. You're throwing darts at that point. The fifth round, whatever, right? It could literally be anybody. That's why a lot of my mock drafts this season are just going to focus on these early because later. It's literally anybody, bro. You know what I mean? It's literally a lottery.
You could try to predict the first three rounds, but the fourth, sixth, seventh, you're just throwing names out there. Let's be honest. But Cowboys have a lot of work to do this April. Happy April Fools, by the way. And man, it's good to be back. It feels good here to be back.
It does indeed. It does indeed. Shout out to everybody in the chat box. Pound that like button like you do your side chick. Pound.
Damn.
Man, that's bad to say, but it is what it is in this type of climate that we live in this world. You know what I'm saying?
Me Too movement coming to the Frisco Report.
Hey, bro. So let me ask you this, Mike. Since we're talking here, this is our first draft podcast here that we're doing here. If you had to start the game tomorrow, what is your number one need? Forget about best player available. What is your number one need that you want to come out of this draft with?
That's a fantastic question, Joe. And if I'm looking at the moves they did in free agency, and we're going into it right now, number one need, number one pick, Joe. I think I'm going Hampton, North Carolina running back all day long. Whether that's at 12 or a trade back, 16 to 20, somewhere in that sweet spot, I'm okay with it, gain another pick. But that I think that's where we're going. I think that's where we're headed, is right there at the running back spot.
And he could be the second running back taken, you know what I mean? Like early, you know what I mean?
Yep.
We're talking about the Giants being the team that could really throw a wrench in this whole draft as far as like, oh, do they take a quarterback? But then you have more. There's build up to these guys looking at Genty as their first pick to make up for the fuck up of letting Saquon Barkley go, as we were talking about earlier, Mike.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns, who do they go get? They got Kenny Pickett to compete with Deshaun Watson. They just locked up Myles Garrett. Abdul Carter could go there, Joe, right? But that could be a wrench if they don't go Abdul Carter, right? Travis Hunter, if they don't go Travis Hunter, that could really shake up the draft. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the first 5 picks either make or break Cowboy fans.
And that's what it is, right? And I mentioned this too, man. Let's get more quarterbacks to push the time down. Well, for me, man, I'm in the quarterback business. We don't have a backup right now, Mike. You know what I mean? Right. Will Greer, what's he gonna do, right? He's not the future. You know what I mean? Dak is gonna be 32 at the start of the season. So, do you want to have somebody that you could start to get in position? Do the Cowboys start their succession plan this draft or not? And if should do it, let's just do a hypothetical, Mike. Let's say Cam Ward goes number 1, and the Giants they take Genty. Okay, who then takes a quarterback? Do the Saints? Do they look at Shador? Do the Raiders? You know what I'm saying? Like, who else could be in the market? And if Shador is there at 12, is there a conversation there between Will McClay overruling Shoddy? Like, what's going to happen there if Shador is there at 12?
Ooh, this is a good question. I honestly believe that where the Cowboys are right now with Dak Prescott's contract, I don't think a second-round quarterback is rich. I think a first-round quarterback might be really, really risky unless there's a little bit of food coloring in that talk with the Browns trading for Dak. Maybe maybe this is a draft day trade. All right. Who knows? But if something happens with that, with Dak and the Browns, then Shadur Sanders all day. But if there's nothing to it, Dak's here, and then I think it's like Johnny Manziel. They're gonna pass him up, Joe.
That'd be very interesting. That'd be very interesting indeed. We have a super chat in the house here, Mike. Right there. JetLee44. Hello, Joe and Mike. This is Jason Renfro. Hey, what's up, bro? I'm asking for prayers because I got to have surgery on my neck to correct what's causing my pain in my neck. Well, dang, man. That's yeah, man. Shout out to you, man. Hopefully everything works out for you there. Sorry to hear that. That sounds pretty serious. But we'll be thinking of you, man. You're a longtime friend of the channel, man. So definitely, bro.
Yeah, Jet Li, Jason. I read that comment last week, so we've been praying for you for a week already, brother. I actually got some other buddies outside of my circle praying for you as well. So you do got an army out there praying that the surgery goes well.
Yeah, man. Hopefully everything goes well, man. You'll be back at it, watching some Cowboys, getting frustrated with the rest of us, bro.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Thank you for that super chat.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, dude. So it's all about the NFL draft and what the Cowboys do. And Mike, if it were me, the number one need for me is going to be I think you need that wide receiver. You know what I mean? Ooh. I think that you go into a game like if we had a lineup against the Philadelphia Eagles or whoever, you know what I mean? You have CeeDee Lamb, and then you have the island of misfit toys. All right, at wide receiver. You've got Jalen Tolbert, who people are continuing to hope that this guy develops. He hasn't developed. All right, let's be real. He only looks good in training camp, and then after that, right? Yeah, then you got Flournoy. You know what I mean? He was deactivated most of the season. They finally threw him a bone and activated him at towards the end of the year. So we really don't know what we have in him, right?
Right.
And then who else are we missing, Mike? Who are the other wide receivers?
You got Jalen Brooks, Devontae Turpin. You
Jalen
got
Turpin, yeah.
See, this is the year I need Jalen Brooks to take off. Like, I was high on him last year. I think this is his third year now coming in. Like, this is where I need Jalen Brooks to beat Jalen Tolbert. No excuses.
Yeah. And the thing about it, that's the thing about it too, right? It's like I'm tired of having to hope for somebody to develop and show up. Like, draft me somebody who's gonna be the guy. Like Tolbert as a third round, he should have been somebody already by now, dude. Like,
right.
Oh, develop, please develop, you little piece of shit. Like, he hasn't done crap, dude. I'm pissed, dude. Like, I want to win, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But dude, like, training camp will get here and he'll make splash play. Oh, he beat Deron Bland and this and that, turning heads. He ain't turning shit, bro.
Oh, Jonathan Mingo and Ryan Flournoy to add to that too.
Another forgettable name, and that's where our 4th round pick went, Mike. So
yeah.
I sure hope that this front office doesn't screw up wide receiver and be like, oh, we have a lot of guys. Oh, we added Paris Campbell, 1st round bust. We don't need to take a wide receiver early. That would be a huge mistake, Mike, in my opinion. If they don't take a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds at least, man, dude, we're in trouble, baby.
Yeah, and Joe, to piggyback off what you said there, Schottenheimer did a conference today at the coaches' meetings, and they talked about how wide receiver number 2 is a priority here, and then Stephen Jones touched on it as well. And so, they kind of give these clues. They don't give all the clues, but they kind of give the clues. So, I think Schottenheimer, those guys are right there with you when it comes to wide receiver being a priority there.
Let's talk about wide receiver, Mike. So we're there at number 12, right? Let's say they go 12 there. Doesn't it just feel kind of rich to you for any of these guys that they're being talked about? Like if it's Abuka,
yeah,
Tet, Mick. I don't study McMillan. Who's the other guy? The Texas kid.
Matthew Golden.
Burden. Like, do any of these guys kind of just feel like, yeah, they're 1st round guys maybe, but at 12, I don't know, man. Like, is that kind of how you feel, or are you okay taking one right there at 12?
I'm only okay with taking 2 guys, and people might think I'm crazy, but the 2 guys I'm taking, my first pick would be Luther Burden out of Missouri. I just see some CD Lamb-esque in him. Now, don't shoot the messenger. That's just what I see, okay? The other guy is Abuka. I think Abuka in traffic is really good. And I like how he plays with his size. Now, blocking, neither one of these could block a COVID test if they had COVID, right? I don't know what I'm saying. But they can't block in the running game at all right? And so but Burden out of Missouri, at Abuka there at 12, it might be a little rich, but I get it. Those are the 2 guys I would want there.
Yeah. No, man. For me, 12. The only one I would take at 12 would be Amika. You know what I mean? I think this guy has just played at a high level for a long time. He'll be a professional right out the gate. You won't have to worry about him, showing up. You know what I mean? To me, he's that kind of guy that this team needs. We were so successful, and yeah, Lamb, slot guy, but they play Lamb all over the place. I want to have a Beasley type of guy, and I'm not saying Amika is a Beasley type of guy, but he has those type of traits to be a legit slot dude who you can do it all. Spread the ball all over the field, and then him run all over the place. You know what I mean? That's what we need. We don't have that. But we don't have we just don't have anybody outside of Lamb, bro. Like that's scary to me. Like you shut down double, triple team Lamb, you're relying on your running back, your running game.
Right.
And where's that at right now?
Exactly. And I like Burden and I like Aduka for the simple fact is they could play on the outside and they could play in the slot. If you get a guy like Matthew Golden, I think he's just a slot type of guy. I don't know if he could play on the outside and be impactful as like a CD Lamb, right? Or even a Michael Gallup in his prime when he had 1,000 yards. I don't know if Matthew Golden can just step out of the realm and go learn. But another thing about Golden, he drops a lot of passes. And before he transferred to Texas in Houston, he had 10 drops in 2 years. Yeah. And then he transfers over to Texas, and he had 4 drops. So I don't know if I trust his hands are not golden.
No, that's a really good point that not enough people talk about. People are always focusing on the good part, but you got to look at both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? So that's why when I hear about red flags, dude, I don't turn the other way, bro. I'm like, that ain't no fucking good, bro.
Right.
I'm
listening.
Like we were talking about this, Mike. Like if there was a report on Mozzie Smith before we drafted him, and they said he came out and said, "Hey, man, I don't like studying. You know, I don't like watching film or none of that stuff." As a freshman, right? You have to account for that stuff because, like Parcells said, you are who you are. You are what you are, man. You know, could a player change? Possibly, but you know, it's like it's like alcohol, right? It's a truth serum. You know what I'm saying? You get into a comfortable situation on a podcast, maybe you get comfortable and you reveal the true you, bro. I'm out on McMillan, bro. I don't want to mess with that, bro.
No, it's true. You know, and when you come out and you say, I don't like, I mean, Mozzie Smith said, I don't like to play football. Mozzie Smith said that, and look how his play is. Then you got McMillan coming out and say, I don't like watching tape. That's going to reflect how you play on the field, Joe. We got another super chat from Simus Says, one of the OGs of YouTube right here.
Simon Says, what's up, bro? Number 1, Ashton Genty. Number 2, Savion Williams, Xavier Trust. Oh, man. So they had Savion Williams at the Texas at Dallas Day. So they brought him in to take a look. You know, a lot of the Dallas Day guys are guys that they're looking at, you know, day 3 undrafted type of dudes. You know what I mean? For the most part. Now, they did they did bring in Quinn Ewers. Right? So he's probably not an undrafted guy, but he will be. I mean, he's in the mix, right, for the Cowboys. But yeah, man, Genty would be nice, but he just ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? I think even if Genty had a picture of him smoking a bong, I don't even think that would drop him. He's just too good of a prospect. You know what I mean?
Right. And me and Simus had this little conversation on Twitter a week or so ago. He knows that I'm team Amarian Hampton out of North Carolina, and he's team Ashton Genty. And time will tell who's going to win that argument. And we might not wind up with either one of them, but that's what it is. Simus, thank you so much for that super chat. We got another one here from Jason Winfro here. He said, go Cowboys, Mavs, Rangers, and Stars. Thanks for the prayers. No, Jason, thank you for that super chat, brother. Get well. Hope that surgery is good for you, man.
Yes, sir. That's where we're at on that, man. Nate Dogg in the house. Got to build the trenches, right? And we got to circle back to this statement because I remember when the Super Bowl ended, right? I mean, the Eagles manhandled the Chiefs, and everybody was like, it's all about the trenches. We got to fix the trenches. You know what I mean? Whether it's O-line, right? The Eagles have a fantastic O-line. They have a fantastic D-line. No matter what you think about the division rivals, they have built those trenches correctly, right? So we do have to remember that, right? The trenches. How do we feel about the trenches, Mike?
You know, when you look at it as a whole, you know, you got Osa, and you got Solomon Thomas, you got Mozzie, and then you got who? Justin Rogers, who they cut late last year, for the 90-man rosters, and they just brought him back on.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
So it's like, how are we going to stop this nosebleed that's been happening for almost a decade? We can't stop the run. And this is our third coordinator. Can Matt Eberflus figure out how to stop this run? Because if you can't, it's pointless. The trenches on the defense side of the ball is very important, especially for these linebackers here on this team. They need a good front four. For those linebackers like Overshown, Murray, Maris Luafau, for those guys to shine, their front four has to be all that and more.
You're spot on, man. Spot on. It's got to be that, right? So that's why in my mock drafts that I've done so far, I've done 3. I've included a defensive tackle somewhere early. You know what I mean? And I think the Cowboys need to do this. You know what I mean? They need to add another player in this rotation because the Cowboys, they're all about rotation. Whoever the coordinator is, I don't know if this comes from the front office or what it is, but we have not had that 3-tech stud since Jason Hatcher, and that was a 1-year wonder, right? 11 or 12 sacks that he had. After that, rotation. If you're going to be it's coming in waves. I remember that was the whole thing with Marinette. We're bringing the pressure in waves, right? It's always a gimmick here. So if we know this, Mike, that rotation needs to have good rotational guys in there, or somebody that can at least maybe surprise the hell out of us and be, that monster that we've been wanting for such a long time.
Right. Yeah. It's time to get those trenches fixed. Period.
Jet Lee with Super Chat. What do you think of Travis Hunter and Trey Wisner?
I think Trey Wisner is a running back out of Texas.
I have not seen Trey Wisner. I haven't studied him, so I don't want to speak on that one there. Travis Hunter, he's like your number one prospect here. I think that he's a. I'm not going to say generational because that's overused, but I'm going to say that he's a high end wide receiver. He can give you depth at cornerback. If I'm drafting him, Mike, I like him as a wide receiver more than a cornerback, but he's very good at playing on the corner. You know what I mean? So could he be a Deion Sanders kind of guy where he gets snaps on both sides of the ball? You know what I mean? Like, what would you do with Travis Hunter, Mike, if you drafted him?
He'd be a wide receiver for me. That's where he would be. He could do both. Don't get me wrong. But when the way he runs a route, the way he catches, the way his agility, his movement, I would put him at wide receiver all day long.
I agree, man. I think he bailed out Shador many a times. Didn't stop, man, on his route. He always found the way to get open and bail Shador out. And so I like him more as a wide receiver. Trey Wisner, like I said, I haven't studied film on him yet. I'll put that to my list here and check him out.
I don't think Trey Wisner is draft eligible. He's only 2 years out of Texas. So I don't know if he's coming in this draft or not. He might come out next year.
That could be what it is. Because I know they got Texas guy Jaden Blue coming out, the speedy running back, but of course a little banged up, Yep. These running backs, you got to be careful with the banged up dudes. Who was the guy that we were getting mocked all the time? I think he went to Carolina. He got Texas back all banged up. You remember that?
Oh, Jonathan, I do remember that.
What was his name? I forgot.
Yeah. What was his name? I think it was Jonathan something. The chat will help us out.
Yeah. But it seems like, some of these guys, they come out a little bit banged up, and you don't want that. But if you're the Cowboys, perfect second round type of guy, right? Injury dudes.
Yeah.
for me, Mike, like I said, I don't know where Tech McMillan will go in this draft, but to me, he would be like one of these roll the dice kind of guys because of, are you going to have to babysit him? Are you going to have to mentor him and show him how to be the right way as far as like study? You know what I mean? Like you might be able to get away with that in college, but that's what separates these guys from being legit and being a bust. You know what I mean? Like you cannot do that at the NFL level and expect to be successful. These defensive coordinators, these DBs, they'll eat you alive, bro. They will eat you alive. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. It all depends on how bad, the Jacksonville Jaguars want a McMillan, with that their wide receiver needs. You got the Raiders wide receiver needs, the Jets wide receiver needs, Carolina. You got New Orleans. I mean, all these are top 10. There's a general manager that didn't care what he just said about not watching film.
Right.
So a general manager is in love with him no matter what, and he can still go top 10. But now that's your baby. That's your problem child.
You hit it right on the head here, man. These are the types of guys that will, if they continue on their way, they'll get the GM fired because you drafted him. This is on you. You know what I mean? Dallas, of course, they don't have that issue here, so they have no repercussions. You can draft a bust. You can pass on TJ Watt, and your job is safe, bro.
Yeah.
You can move up and get a bust Morris Claiborne, and you're good, bro. You're nothing's gonna happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a major issue here with the front office here, Mike. But another player to look at, injury guy, Jihad, the linebacker out of Alabama, is another guy, a linebacker, right? So Cowboys, I think you need another linebacker somewhere in this draft, and I wish we had the 4th round pick because I don't know if they'll take one early, but if they didn't, I would at least try to get one in the 4th round. You know what I mean? But Jihad Campbell, lots of surgeries. His knees, they're kind of bad. Had a good pro day, but it's like a ticking time bomb, right? It's kind of like a LVE. Like he's had surgeries on the neck. He's okay, but it just takes that one hit and you're out for a couple of games or the season. You know what I mean? So to me, he would be a 2nd round kind of guy that the Cowboys will probably roll the dice on.
100%, Joe. And when I watch Campbell, I don't know. Again, this is just what I see. I don't know if I like Campbell away from the line of scrimmage. I think he plays his best ball when he's as close to the line of scrimmage as possible, whether that's pursuing a screen, whether that's trying to stop the run or something. Out in coverage, he does have a lot of interceptions in the limited snaps that he did play out in coverage, but a lot of it, the quarterback just threw it right to him. I like Campbell close to the line of scrimmage, period. The guy's he's a nuisance. He's all that and then some.
Yeah. No, that's what he is, man. That's if you're okay with the medicals, you know what I mean? And you're okay with probably he will miss some time, then you'll take that guy. And the Cowboys have added some depth here. Like you said, they added Murray. They've invested in Leo Fowl, who should be another year under his belt under Eberflus, who's kind of like a linebacker whisperer. So it could be a good thing here. So we'll see what they do with linebacker. Mike Berlerner with the super chat. The thing I worry about drafting Genty is I feel like he's going to fail under our horrendous O-line because we have one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. Yeah. The O-line, Mike, is this another area where the Cowboys could surprise us and go O-line with that 12th pick?
So I got asked this question the other day on another channel, and I think it could be left tackle. I really do. I mean, you look at Tyler Smith, You look at Brock Hoffman or Cooper Beebe, and then if Brock Hoffman's there, then you got Cooper Beebe taking over for the great Zach Martin. And then you got some competition with Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton if Connor Riley wants to go that direction. So that leaves what? The left tackle wide open. I'm not for. I don't know if I buy into Awesome Richards yet. You know, they're going to try to sell us on Awesome Richards. I can't buy that ticket just yet. So I really think that O-line could be a surprise pick. It wouldn't be a surprise pick, but they're going to be, oh, there was this player here. You should have went here. Why did you go O-line? That type of stuff.
Exactly. And that's kind of what the whole title of this discussion is who are the Cowboys going to draft versus what the fans want? A lot of the fans, they're fixated on Genty. They're fixated on Ted McMillan, right? There's two guys. One is very polarizing, obviously, with McMillan. Genty, he's just not going to be there, bro. If he's such a badass, which he is, he's not going to make it to 12. Look at Bijan Robinson, right? Really, really good running back. He went early to Atlanta, dude. Like, but what about Detroit? They got this dude a little bit later, right? Well, running back, it's all cyclical, right? The running backs are going to be back in, you know, like, oh, we need one, right? These teams know they need a running game, man. So, yeah, it's going to be how would he do on this offensive line? Like, Mike, you hit it right on the head, right? It's like, could O-line be the pick there? You know what I mean? To me, the Cowboys, they're very stingy, though. They're very loyal to the people at their position. Like, we're not moving him. We're not moving him. I just feel like we're going to be stuck with Guyton until he officially shows he's an utter bust, which I don't know if he is yet. But I didn't like how they kept pulling them out of games mid-game. Like, what is it mental? Can you not take it? Like, is it a physical thing? Were you not in shape? Like what was it, bro?
I think a lot of it with Tyler Guyton was Mike McCarthy always talked about continuity on the offensive line, but I can't name a time in Mike McCarthy's tenure where there was continuity. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, you hit it right on the head, Joe. The inconsistencies of his playing time, and I don't know how you just give up on the first round talent that fast. But then you boil it down a little bit more, and who's there at the bottom of the pot? Mike Solari, one of the worst offensive line coaches in football. T.J. Bass declined. Brock Hoffman, I think that was pure talent, Joe. And then you look at, those are the only two. Terrence Steele looked horrible. Zach Martin didn't look good. Tyler Smith had more penalties just last year. That has to be coaching, right? So Tyler Guyton developing under Connor Riley with Clayton Adams as the offensive coordinator, they're going to preach physical, Joe, and I think that's going to help Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, I think that's what is going to happen there. As far as like O-line, right guard could be like the sneaky pick there at 12. You know, could you go Will Campbell and plug him in there as your right guard? Because some people say, oh, the shorter arms, you know, that means he's going to be a guard. But then you have the other faction that says, no, he's still a left tackle. The NFL, they're pretty good at, plugging people in because of measurables. You know what I mean? And, yeah, he probably could play left tackle. But for me, if I drafted Will Campbell, he's going to go there at right guard, bro. You know what I mean? I'm going to let him go in there and maul people there. And be a all pro, a Pro Bowler there for 10 years more. You know what I mean? So that could be the pick. You know, Cowboys fan, like you said, Mike, there could be some good players there that the Cowboys pass on, and fans are going to be uproared. And that's something the Cowboys could do, Mike. The other piece that we need to talk about here, Mike, that will really annoy Cowboys fans is, what if it's Tyler Warren, the number one tight end here, Mike?
You mean if the Cowboys pick him at 12?
Yeah.
I don't need another Taysom Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen that project with New Orleans. I don't need another one, especially in Dallas. I don't need a quarterback, a wide receiver, a tight end, a fullback, and a running back all in one. No, thank you. We have Hunter Lemke here. and it doesn't work. So that guy ain't gonna work. Keep him away.
What about if I told you that Jason? What if I told you Jake Ferguson has hit his ceiling and he's not going to get better, and then they're not going to re-sign him, and then you have Luke Schoonmaker, who maybe could make another leap. Would you want somebody of this potential who could be, one of these new age type of tight ends who could just take over a game and give you another pass catcher for Dak Prescott? Because we're talking about our wide receiver depth sucks. Where can you get some other catches? Who else could be a lethal pass catcher for you? And I think that's where the Cowboys could surprise some people and say, of the pass catchers, Tyler Warren is number one on our board. Would that surprise you, Mike?
No, I mean, his receiving ability alone keeps Tyler Warren in the first round conversation. Just the way he does it, right?
Right.
Jake Ferguson, he might have hit his ceiling. He had a massive decline last year. That was my guy.
Yeah.
Schoonmaker came along with Cooper Rush. I don't know if that translates with Dak Prescott. Not hating, not making this a Dak Prescott show, but I don't know if that translates with Prescott. If you're going to strictly use him at tight end, draft him. But I don't want to see no gadgets and gadgets, trickery, Charlie F around BS here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if you're going to strictly make him a tight end, do it.
Yeah, I think that that would be one that would throw a loop into Cowboys fans, right? We wanted Genty, we wanted McMillan, we got a tight end, shit, or we got Will, we got Campbell, the guard, or whatever the hell, what would be another guy that would throw fans into complete utter misery? So what the hell are the Cowboys doing, Mike? What's another position besides quarterback? Right, quarterback would obviously split the fan base, but is there another position that would do that for Cowboys fans in the first round, Mike?
Maybe corner, maybe safety, maybe those positions. Because corner in the first round really ain't that. I mean, it really ain't that deep. You got Will Johnson, right? Out of Michigan. I mean, other than that, your top corners, they're nowhere to be found. Safety, and then you got Barron out of Texas, and then you got the Nick kid out of South Carolina. I mean, safety and corner could be those "what are you doing" type of moves there.
Yeah. No, man, you're right about cornerback, though. That cornerbacks, now this does not go deep at all, man. Like, cornerback, if you want a premier guy, you got to take him in the first round. After that, you're hoping that somebody can be a steal for you or a diamond in the rough, even in the second or third round. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Blue chip cornerbacks, super thin in this draft. Super thin. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the cornerback, right, out of Michigan, Will Johnson. Would he be there at 12? I think he could be there at 12. Would the Cowboys take him? They might take him. If they're planning on moving on from Diggs, which he could be a draft day trade candidate, you know what I mean, to be honest? Because there's been rumors, right, that, things aren't going so good, right? So, but even that, Mike, how do you feel about our cornerback depth?
Diggs coming back from injury scares me. Deron Bland looked like a shell of himself. I mean, DK Metcalf ate his lunch last year. Did not look like himself. The Deron Bland that we know and love. They just traded for that Elam guy from Buffalo. Not really high on him. The corner's a bit shaky, Joe. The corner is a bit shaky. Al Harris is gone. A lot of players loved Al Harris, but now he's gone. You got a fresh start there with that new coach. I don't know. I don't know if I trust corner as bad. We got a super chat here by JVS21.
All right.
He said,
21. Go ahead, Mike.
He said, Mike, lay off the Ozempic. Jeez, my guy, eat a burger. JK looking great. Trade back, lots of holes. I like Tyler Booker, running back Hampton, Mike Green, or Burden. Those are some of those names we talked about. But to answer the first part of your super chat, thanks for that super chat, by the way. No Ozempic here, but me and the wife, we woke up early January, maybe the first week, maybe January 10th, somewhere around there, and said, we got to lose some weight. This is getting ridiculous. I stepped on the scale. I seen 282 pounds, and I was like, I got to make a change for me. You know, if you're that weight, this was just for me. I've always been a skinny guy, always been a skinny brother. And then next thing I know, I'm the fattest brother. I'm really unhealthy. I got 2 daughters to look out for. They're my motivation. Me and my wife, we've been hitting the gym. We've been dieting and exercise. I'm down 42 pounds. And no, we just been kicking some tail in that gym. But I wish Ozempic was a thing for us. But no, man, it's a lot of sweat and a lot of starving that goes into this diet right here.
That's great work, Mike. I'm proud of you, man. I've actually started that journey myself as well because it's time, dude. Late here in these 40s, it's just time. It's time to take care of yourself, right? So it's what's you got to do what you got to do, right? So we want to live here for a while, and that's the plan. Mike, you are looking great, bro. Proud of you, bro.
Well, thank you. And as Azteca Aguilar put in, gluten-free tortillas, dude, I can't do those. They don't cook up. They don't heat up right. So I've been sticking to the original corn tortillas. That's what I've been using to eat. I haven't had any flour. Haven't had a Dr. Pepper. I used to drink like probably 18 bottles of Dr. Pepper a week, and I haven't had a single Dr. Pepper since like January 15th. So
that's good, bro. Yeah, sugar will definitely get you, bro.
Every time.
Yeah, man. Lots of good names there. Burden Mike, I think people have forgotten about him, but he's a good wide receiver, man. If he's falling, he would be a trade back candidate for me, man. You know what I mean? Because I like him. He's my wide receiver too. It's Amika, Burden, Goldenish, and then the rest are just. Oh, and I do like Noel. I think this guy has got a little bit of a Steve Smith in him, so I do like him as well. Maybe as a second round guy.
Yeah.
Mike Berlerna, super chat. What's going on, Mike? I feel like this season is going to be Trayvon Diggs' last season with us. It definitely has that kind of vibe. After the season, I feel like he's going to be cut or traded. Trayvon's been injured a lot in the last 2 years, and he's regressed horribly. Yeah, man, we talk about this all the time. Mike really put us onto this as far as like, the guys here that come back from injury, it's always, it's a 2-year recovery. But every other team, they're back within a year. With Dallas, it's a 2-year recovery. And then a lot of fans are brainwashed now, like, yeah. 2 years, he'll be better. Why, bro? No one can go through this shit but us, bro. It's always a 2-year recovery, whatever the hell it is. It sucks.
You look at the guys that, Deron Bland injured didn't look good when he came back. Terrence Steele, Trayvon Diggs got hurt again. Trayvon Diggs made Jerry and Steven and Will and Mike all confused by pulling himself out and putting himself on IR. That's basically what he did, right? So when you do stuff like that, the Jones family doesn't like it. So this is Trayvon Diggs is a draft day trade. He's probably our ticket back to the 4th round.
That's probably it right there.
Or it's his last year. I would rather just trade him and get a 4th round pick back.
At the minimum, right? But the way the Cowboys I always get scared when the Cowboys are trading because they get ripped off a lot. I would hope for a 4th. But damn, these guys might get ripped off. That's my only worry. But I think you're right, Mike Berlerna. I think you're right that this probably could be his last year, and he would be cut. These guys they always let the cat out the bag, right? We'll just wait for him to get cut. We never get anything out of these guys, man. We always, I don't know. This front office has just been shitty for years, bro.
No, they have been. I mean, look at the track record, Joe. Yeah, they built 12-5 teams. Jerry hangs his hat. Jerry hangs his hat, Joe, on having the 6th most wins in regular season football.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about the wins in the playoffs, Jerry? Like, what are we doing here? Do we forget that there's football outside of the regular season and your team hasn't won? What was Romo's record? 2-4? Dak Prescott's 2-5. You're 4-9 in the playoffs. What are you doing, Jerry? That's what I want to know. That's what I care about.
Yeah. No, that's what it is, man. That's exactly what it is. So, what do they do? It's going to be a very interesting question as far as more of the 30 visit names will come out. Our next show, we're going to go over who the Cowboys have met, who they've met with, and who they're going to meet with. We'll get that list compiled here for you guys and have an up-to-date list for. Hopefully, we'll get this on next week, and we'll get that list out to you, and we can break that down. But we won't fixate on those because that's another mistake that we do is only these 30. But then when the draft comes, only 1 or 2 guys are taken from there, right? And then the rest are like, who is this dude? So we'll try to cover those who is this dude type of players too, man. We'll try to get all of them in here.
Right. Let's talk on that, Joe. But man, it felt good to be back in my box. This is my box right here. That's my box.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's the most we can get for Diggs? Yeah, I think a 4th is probably going to be the most that they're going to be able to get for him. Honestly,
I think a 4th is it.
I wish you could get a 1st or a 2nd, but nobody's going to pay that. You know what I mean? Especially with
his contract? What's his contract?
It's not cheap, right? So
I'm looking it up right now.
And that's where they're going to get dinged at. I think it's going to be like, okay, well, you're paying him this much. We'll give you a 4th. Unload him.
Oh, he's only 12 million on the books. That helps you.
That helps you move him. So maybe, if you could trade him to somebody in the top of the 4th round, that would be ideal. You know what I mean? You definitely don't want to trade with somebody on the bottom here or a compensatory 4th round pick. You want the 4th rounder to be in that upper half at least, Mike. That upper quarter, preferably.
Yeah. The Cowboys can't possibly go 2 years in a row without a 4th round pick. That last year hurt us, and now we're scratching and clawing for our running back because we traded for Trey Lance. He's not even in the NFL. You drafted guys like Deuce Vaughn, who's probably not going to be in the NFL after this year. So the Cowboys have really were with Charlie F around at the running back position, and now if you don't get a running back in 1, 2, or 3, and you keep letting this whole thing go again like you did last year, it's not going to be good for you or your football team.
Yeah, it's with Diggs, man, it's part genetic too. His brother, same deal. Stephon Diggs injury. You know what I mean? But he's been able to get the teams have been able to trade him for decent picks. But Dallas, they're gonna get their eyes poked out, bro. So, but get the 4th. You know what I mean? If that's what they're gonna do, and if that's true, then yeah, number 12 could be cornerback. We need to be ready for that. You know what I mean?
All day long, 365. If they go corner round 1, Diggs is gone. Diggs is gone, and DeRon Bland's probably getting paid right then and there. It's going to be a domino effect.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. That'll be the tell. That'll be the tell right there, man. If it's Johnson,
yep.
If that's the number 1 corner on their board and he goes, yeah, that's sayonara.
It's Johnson, trade Diggs, extend Bland. That's the domino effect right there.
Yeah, that's it right there. Mike, I think that's it for tonight's show. We'll be coming back, like I said, next week with the latest who the Cowboys are meeting with, prospects, and if we have time, we'll get into a mock draft, baby.
Hey, I'm ready. It's good to be back. It's good to see everybody in the comment section. Thanks for all the love and support. You know what put the smile on my face is Joe and Mike are back. Yes, Joe and Mike are back. Joe and Mike are back. I love that. I love seeing that. It keeps us going for this, our 5th year, Joe, on the Frisco Report. So that was a really good intro. As a matter of fact, let's play the intro before we leave for these guys. You want to play the intro? Want to see the intro again?
Yeah, do it again. Play it again.
Oh, bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
Highway.
What's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass?
They ain't ready. They ain't ready, Joe. They ain't ready. Here we go.
I'm gonna go almond rock here, guys.
What is it? You ain't Mexican. What is that?
Kind of looks it a little bit though, so kind of dig a little deep in there, right? But yeah, we got that. You did that.
Bam. That was a nice intro. That was a good intro.
It was a good time, bro. It was a good time.
5 years right there.
Yeah, I remember in that mock draft I took Amon Ra, and people I remember you're like, people in the comments hate that pick, Joe. They don't like the pick in Amon. And look what he's doing now. He's such a beast in the NFL, man. So we know what we're doing here, guys. We know what we're doing here at the Frisco Report. So stay here with us on draft coverage, and we won't lead you the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, stay right here. I think Nathaniel said it best. The best draft show, or the best draft show out there. Nathaniel said that best right there. Thank you for that, guys. Thanks for the love. But no, Frisco Report back next week, guys. Count on it. You got anything else to say, Joe?
That's it, man. We appreciate everybody that they joined here today, and thank you, man. Hit like on that way out, and we'll see you next week, man, for another jam-packed show, bro. It's gonna be fun.
Peace.